Three, two, one, go.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Triad of the Forest podcast, the podcast from three Puerto Rican friends coming together to do deep dives into Star Wars and other nerd-related media. These are Batch Fridays, where we talk about season 2 of the Bad Batch episode by episode, focusing today on episode 3, The Solitary Clone. And what an episode that was.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into it, we would like to welcome our amazing guest for today, Chris Ryons from Broaxium. Welcome back to the Triad.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me back. You know I love hanging with you guys.
Oh man,
We always love talking to you.
This,
Yes.
this is the third time on the Triad, so it's kind of like seems like a special
right.
one. Three is a magic number. 20,
Right.
It's like
trilogy.
talking about the third episode. It's too many trinities happening here today.
Yeah.
So we are very, very excited about it.
Yeah.
Before we get started on anything, I'm
Yeah.
on the Willow train right now, so I have to get
Yes.
this off of my chest. Willow was amazing. The
Yes.
season finale was incredible. Renew Willow, please.
Please. Well, I mean, you saw at the end that they had the volume 1, volume 2, volume 3 on that bookshelf.
Yep.
So I'm like, please make it happen. Like I still think, and I don't, other people may roll their eyes when I say this, but I still think it's in the Star Wars universe. All that
That's a
magic
hot
and what
take.
they're
That's a
talking
hot
about.
take.
I'm just saying, they talk about
how-
magic, and when they talk about it, they're talking about it like it's the Force, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing.
Would you
So-
say that it's like a planet like concurrent to every story we know, and it's just that they don't have the technology?
Oh,
yet? Or do you
I
that's
think
in the past.
I think they're far off or something, like, even if I were writing it, it's one of those planets, like maybe in the during the High Republic era that Yoda maybe went to and saw that maybe that planet's still in its infancy, or maybe he keeps it like off the Jedi records or something like that, the galactic record, so it can just be its own thing, outer rim or unknown regions or something, who knows.
Okay,
But
I dig it.
Yeah.
I would love that. That'd be a big step to take. And
Maybe that's
I'm
in volume
here
3.
for it.
Yeah.
Maybe
Maybe in volume 4. But it's funny though, because I was not too enthused for Willow because I did not grow up with the movie. I had not seen the movie. So I was just like, okay, whatever. Let's watch the movie before watching the show. And then I watched the movie. Obviously, I'm not the intended target for the movie because it's for a younger audience. So I was like, I mean, I can see the appeal, but it didn't blow my mind, right? So I'm just like, okay, well, if this is the movie, then now I know what to expect from the tone of the show. And like, it was when I started the series, it was basically that. It was basically the tone of the movie. But as the series progressed,
it morphed into something else.
It morphed into something completely. I mean, still has that same jovial attitude and like Joy the Veer, right? It still enjoys being itself, but it gets funky. It gets funky, and in a really good way.
Like the movie came out when I was 13, and like I was already like, oh, I was like, you saw like General Kale, and I'm like, that's Darth Vader. Like I was an idiot. I didn't know, but I still am, just in a different level idiot. But it was
lovingly.
But I just thought it was I thought it was really cool, and it was like it's Lucas's own Lord of the Rings kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
basically.
I really dug it, and it took me a minute to get used to the vernacular of the characters in this new one, because you think it would have the same kind of language or the same kind of vernacular as like a Lord of the Rings or a
right
or a Game of Thrones, House of Dragon, all that stuff. And it doesn't. It's very
contemporary.
very contemporary. And then when they mixed in the music with it, I was like, okay, they're really giving it their own feel when they throw like modern music onto it. And I was like, okay, I'm in, I'm sold. And I like this new direction that Kazan is taking with Willow, and I think it's great, even if they don't make it a part of the Star Wars universe, which I still hope they do.
We'll forward that idea to John.
We'll talk to him. But I like that, and it could be its own, like its own separate universe, like like the Marvel stuff and whatnot, just have its own feel, and I'm here for it. I love it. I know some people don't, but I'm all for it. I'm here for it.
Nani unfortunately hasn't seen it yet, but hopefully this little mini review is motivating her to be like, okay, I gotta check this out.
You gotta check it out.
I got it.
Now you were watching the last season of His Dark Materials, right? Is that what was happening?
Yeah, that's the last thing I watched.
And good, right?
Yeah, I loved it. I think it was my favorite season out of the 3. It was also my favorite book, so you know.
I haven't watched any of that.
No, I mean, it's been weird for me because I also read the books and I saw the original movie that had come out with Nicole Kidman a while ago, and I wasn't too much of a fan of that movie. And I've seen the first 2 seasons. I haven't seen the last one yet, but I've enjoyed the series so far. But I don't know. Maybe I need to like rewatch them now so we can talk about it a little more with. Because I'm forgetting things, so right now I'm talking out of my ass, basically. But there's something missing, I think, in the series that just doesn't capture the magic of the book. And I don't want to be one of those book snobs that's just like, well, the book's better than the movie, because that's BS, right? Look at the Lord of the Rings. The movies stand on their own, right? But whatever. This is not the His Dark Materials podcast. This is a Star Wars Plus. Well, it's Star Wars Plus, so we do talk about all this bullshit. But we're here to talk about Bad Batch. Episode 3. I was cynical about episodes 1 and 2. If you listened to last episode, I wasn't that much into it, but Raven gave an awesome review for that. I started like turning, which is basically these first 2 episodes of Triad have been very Broaxium centered, which is a happy coincidence here.
All in the family.
Keeping it in the family. Keeping it in the family. But Solitary Clone was something else. But Chris, what happened in your thought? What was your thought of Bad Batch season 1? Now that we can look back on it fondly.
Loved it. I love the concept. I love this team. I was like, when this series first started, I was like, I had a very not sour, but like very downer outlook of where this is going to go, because for me, like, when I think of any story that stems from the Clone Wars, for anyone involved, it doesn't work out well for anyone unless you're Sheev Palpatine. He's the only one that came out of this thing like, so for Bad Batch, I was like, so Order 66 hasn't happened yet, like when it first started. I'm like, let me see what goes down with that. Like, are they going to switch, or is it going to take a little bit of time, or are they going to like each individually? Like, I thought it was going to be one season, and like, the Bad Batch team breaks down the further you go along in the series.
Holy crap.
Because each one goes into. I need to find some happiness in my life or something. Maybe because that's why I'm not, But yeah, I thought it was going to just go downhill for them from there. But I love the way it turned out. And I love that family dynamic that they have. And going into this second season, starting out, I don't know what the time jump is between season 1 and 2. I don't know if they said anything. I don't remember. But to see them like, personalizing their armor so that it isn't part of the Army of the Republic, and how well Omega is now, like, she's like a true blue, a part of the team now. And not just stay on the ship, where it's safe while we do all the dangerous stuff. And now she's a part of that and still learning stuff, so I love that. I love that.
Very much so. But and this episode was kind of like Solitary Clone was kind of like a bait and switch to an extent, because you're expecting the Bad Batch and like in all the episodes, but this episode was like, no, screw the batch. We're gonna go to one of the missing ingredients. And we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back and see what happened to our good friend Crosshair, and it's just a Imperial episode, so to speak, which kind of reminded me a lot of like the old Clone Wars episodes. And obviously we'll get to that, but it was kind of a nice change of pace because we're seeing things from quote unquote the bad guys' point of view instead of like the good guys, which great shades of gray and all that stuff, and we'll get into it. But to kind of see that change, right, from Bad Batch perspective to Imperial perspective was really refreshing and unexpected, because I wasn't, especially so soon in the season. It was something that blew my mind and kind of got me on the Bad Batch train, because like I said, I was not feeling it at first.
Now you're officially on.
With the premiere, I wasn't on board. I had a ticket, but I wasn't on board yet. But now I'm there and I'm reclined. I'm ready for the journey. But Chris, what did you think of Solitary Clone?
Well, considering what I thought the first scenes was going to go,
Yeah.
I love this episode.
The
I
darkness.
love this episode. It was so
kind of like that.
dark. It
Yeah.
was just like, oh, what was one of the things though? One of the cool things that stood out for me, and this is just like a superficial thing, was seeing hold on, my phone was going off for some reason. Sorry.
No worries.
My dad's listening to the TV, so hopefully it doesn't come in. So we're all good with the ambient noise.
Let's see. Seeing all the cool ways that seeing Crosshair at work, seeing him work, seeing him just be that awesome soldier that he is. Unfortunately, it's for the Empire, but seeing that was amazing. Cody, who I would, and it's not going to happen. I would love for him to get a chance to like apologize to Obi-Wan. Because he sort of did.
You never know.
Yeah.
He sort of did in this thing. Like he regretted it.
Yeah.
But oh man, that would be amazing. But I love his story, and I'm glad that he, of course, he still went through with the Order 66, but I'm guessing the programming either wore off, or he's just seen so much that is overriding whatever that programming is, and like, oh, this is not right. And I love that. And I knew that, I was so ready for something else, outside of Andor, because Andor was very, very grounded, very serious.
Right.
And in this particular episode, I was like, this is very Andorish, because I felt, because like you feel like on the ground, the oppression of the Empire.
Right.
And it was there in this one, like tenfold. It was there with how they rejected, the pleas for like, we are a sovereign, planet, we're not a part of the Empire. And the Empire just going, no, this is
like cool
this is all
story,
ours,
bro.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. This is all ours. You got to go. And after Crosshair did what he did and killed off that the leader, and after the clones do all the work, and then the stormtroopers step in, I was like, man, this is I immediately flashed back to just Andor, and just how the Empire was in that, and how oppressive they were, and I was like, this is amazing. This is just amazing.
Agree on everything. Nani, how about you? You've been quiet. What do you think of?
I was blown away. It actually kind of physically hurt. I remember after it finished, I was like actively depressed. Like, it's so sad. I mean, his plight is just because it is the character that you love, even though you know that he's not taking the correct path, and you see him going from having difficulty sleeping and eating alone, and they don't even let him eat. I feel like
he never finished a meal.
And he looked so sad, by himself in the cafeteria. And then he kind of becomes part of a team again, and then ends up alone all over. And it's just that seeing him walking by himself down the corridor. And it was just gut-wrenching. And they did such a good job of that. And I just remember as soon as I read the title, Solitary Clone, I was like, oh, please give me some Crosshair. And I was not disappointed. It was really, really good to see our boy, and some of those amazing shots he pulls off. It's ridiculous. And I think to piggyback a little bit on what you were saying, Chris, I think it's different. One thing is having the chip being activated in that moment, and being told that the Jedi, are traitors, and having that instinct to act as a soldier and follow orders. But with time, actually being on the ground and seeing and being a part of the systemic oppression that the Empire is doing, I think is making a lot of these clones, go AWOL. I'm really happy that we got to see Cody regretting it. I mean, from the moment that Crosshair says to him that the ones that are going AWOL are traitors just like the Jedi, and I saw hesitation there from Cody, I was like, wait, did I see that correctly? Is this happening? Please let this happen. And this thing that, Bad Batch is, they were all engineered differently, but that regs are also going AWOL because they can see, I mean, they fought for the Republic.
Yeah.
And now it's systemic oppression. I like when he says so much for peace when they killed the leader of the town, that, it really was never about peace and order. It's about control and subjugation and power.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
and these clones are starting to see it,
Yeah.
as it's happening, and they've been a part of it. And I'm really glad that, I'm really hoping he did just go away. Well, they didn't actually kill him. So
Yeah.
No, I'm 100%. Well, not 100.
sure that,
but fairly confident that he actually did go AWOL, because it has to go somewhere. Like, I'm not. I
and
don't
especially
think
with Crosshair's reaction, that it's like, wait, why am I not under Commander Cody? And the dehumanizing of always using their numbers and not acknowledging their names either. But yeah, his reaction, it's like, why am I not under Cody? Because I thought when Cody didn't follow the order that Crosshair was going to tell on him. Like, oh, he's not following orders. He is incompetent now. He can't be. He's compromised. But you could tell that he wasn't. I think Crosshair was actually happy to be back in a team, and being useful and not being in the commander position, because he was never a commander, and to have, a leader, a strong one that he knew from before everything happened, I think was kind of helping him leave this rut that he's in. And then to have that been taken away was just devastating to me. It's like, oh, Crosshair. But yeah, it's does such a good way of portraying that it's amazing. It's such a short animated show, and it makes you feel all the Clone Wars and the Andor and everything. And you gotta love seeing some battle droids, every time.
Yeah,
true. It's very nostalgic, right? When the battle droids will show up, and then you see like the oh my god, I forgot the tank's name. Sorry, nerds. When the tank rolls up, and then droidicas, and like, I'm just like, oh my god, this is. I'm 12, 14 years old again.
It's so happy.
Oh, it's prequel time. It was very. It was weird because like you get excited to like have a Clone Wars fight, but then you look at it like from a different perspective, because it's technically, well, wait, the battle droids aren't the bad guys technically now. Technically, they're the good guys now.
They're protecting the town.
They're defending a sovereign, a sovereign state on the planet, however you want to call it. So it's kind of a reversal. They're still the antagonist, right, of the episode, because this is still a Crosshair POV. But to kind of see that duality play out, it's like, well, they're the bad guy / antagonist, but technically they're the ones that are fighting for.
I love that.
The right thing, and I use that cautiously. It was very jarring while watching it, but I think that's one of the great things about this episode. It's very action heavy. So it's a 25-minute episode, so let's say 15 minutes of it are basically action, but then you have like these 3 very poignant scenes of dialogue that just like hammer across
they hit hard,
the haunting nature of the Empire, which is like so tragic, right? Especially looking at it from Crosshair, because when we left him in season 1, it's just like, well, he's just a douche, right? Who decided to follow the Empire. Because it's just like, well, good soldiers follow orders. I took out my ship, and I still want to do that. But like now, there's the depth of it, of him being like, oh, well, at what cost, right? Am I following those orders for? Because now I'm in a room by myself alone, like Cyril Karn in Andor. I try to find some family or companionship or camaraderie in the barracks, and I'm trying to have some lunch, but everyone rejects me because I'm not like them. So like there's this weird environment where like he thinks that he's doing the right thing, but the cost is that he's alienating himself, basically.
Something ain't right. And when I saw him in sitting in his barracks by himself, I immediately thought of Agent Callus.
Oh,
Rebels,
that one
and I was
too,
like,
right?
and he's like, wow, like he realizes that he was, fighting for the wrong side. I'll tell you one thing that after watching the prequels and seeing how good the clone troopers are, I was like, why did they downgrade to conscripts and stormtroopers when these clones are so efficient? There'd be no original trilogy if the clones were at their best and like focused and doing their thing. I don't think there would have been. But then you see that these clones, because they had that history of fighting for the Republic, and their individual personalities that go along with that, and they can see right and wrong. At least some of them can, or a good portion of them can. You see why they had to phase them out. Like they even talked about it. There's a conversation between 2 clones in this particular episode talking about that.
Recruitment bill.
And they're they had to be phased out because they need a more patriotic, compliant soldiers.
Yeah.
And
it's also cheaper too to just steal children and indoctrinate them than to grow clones. So
so, and I thought that was fantastic, and part of that leads to this one mindset that I'm on. If you've read any of the comics, there's a team in the Empire, in the Age of the Empire, after Episode 4, called Scar Squadron. And these
I saw Star Wars Explained episode on it. So I haven't read it, but I'm versed now.
I talked about that like when I was on the Clone Zone with Alex. Me and Dan were on the Clone Zone with Alex and Molly. We were there for the first episode. And I mentioned this because I know they read the comics and Dan and I read the comics. And when I see Bad Batch, I look at Scar Squadron, I'm like, each member looks just like one of the members of Bad Batch. And I was like, oh. And that was another reason why I was like, oh, this is not going to end well. Because they're going to become Scar Squadron, or either they get reconditioned and become Scar Squadron, or they get copied. Or something there's another their templates get cloned again since Mount Tantus, and they're doing that whole cloning thing there,
right?
And there's a more compliant Imperial diehard Scar
version
Squadron
of them,
of the Bad Batch,
nega Bad Batch, basically.
yeah.
Well, I mean, because they have proven very effective. So.
Yeah,
I like that idea. Sure, even though I'm tired of clones, but somehow Palpatine has returned and all that. But I dig that. That could be cool.
That could be a thing.
Makes sense.
And that I forgot the name of that Grommer, the Imperial officer. Who seemed kind of weakish.
Like the governor, Grot or something like that.
Something like
Groton,
that.
Governor
Groton. He at first, and there were a couple for me. There were a couple like not bait and switch, but things happened the way I didn't think they would. He was one of them. I thought that when the ship landed, he's like, he seemed
nervous.
Like he was trying to muster up this courage to go out there. I was like, this could be someone who could maybe turn and maybe help out. And then you see by the end of it when. I guess when they capture the city and everything, and he's like, now kill her. Like you can see he's scared. He's so scared. Right. He's so spineless and is a coward. And I was just like, oh, that is. I was like, how did I not pick up on that? That's a typical Imperial.
Right. It's the same as the guy from Andor. I forget his name. The guy that kicks B2 Emo. Who was before that scene when he's asking Dedra if he could become like the administrator of the city
the prefect.
Prefect. There we go. It's exactly same type of guy. It's like this little spineless guy.
Yeah.
But what happens to that guy? He gets a brick to the face. So hopefully Gromit, he'll get his eventually. Yeah. Hopefully. Right.
And and when they said the title of the show was Solitary.
The Solitary Clone. Yeah.
And I saw that that Cody was there and they're going with this whole team. I was like, oh no, they're going to kill Cody and the whole team.
Same.
The Solitary Clone is going to be Crosshair, but it turned out to be different. I'm like, oh good. That's
yeah.
But with Cody, I was very surprised. I mean, I knew Cody was going to show up like in the season because it was hyped up. But for some reason, I have forgotten from the trailers that he didn't have like his armor yellow.
So that was very jarring to see.
So when he showed up and it's all gray, I'm just like, who the fuck is this clone? Like, I don't know. And then like he takes off the helmet and I see the scar and it's like, oh God, it's Cody. I'm a bad nerd. Oh my God. But it was such a clever choice, right?
They know bright colors in the Empire. They don't know that.
There's no individuality. You're just numbers.
But I was very surprised with the characterization too, because I would have thought. And I think that's where this whole debate, I think that everyone's having about the ships. It's just like, wait, if they're organic, they wear out. Like, is it only for Order 66? Like, what's going on with the ships? But exactly, we saw that Cody didn't hesitate. In episode 3, he was like,
blast him.
Blast him. Like, no mercy, no nothing.
Yeah.
So like all of a sudden, we see him now in Bad Batch. He's like, I'm not so sure about this anymore. It's like, what's happening? So. I think that's very kind of valuable, especially if we're looking at Crosshair maybe having a redemption arc. Well, not maybe. I think this all but confirms. Crosshair is going to have a redemption arc up in here. But here's a question for everybody: is it going to be based on Cody's sacrifice? Is Cody going to find a way to like either reunite with Rex or the Bad Batch or something? Is going to be like some event that happens between Crosshair and Cody that then makes Crosshair be like, damn, I gotta switch sides because Cody's dying in his arms or something like that. Is Cody gonna keep showing up?
Is he the clone equivalent of Ben Solo?
Exactly. Except no
right.
No force healing, unfortunately.
yeah, not this time.
Exactly.
I would agree with that. As long as they're still able to,
get Obi-Wan in there.
Well, no, that'd be nice, but as long as it still leads into Scar Squadron, which I think it's going. God, I hope so. Yeah, I could see something by the end of this series happening where I think they. Oh, that's horrible to say, but
say it.
I keep thinking they're all going to go. They're all going to, except for Omega, or if they want to keep Omega's story going, like what they did with Lando in the comics with Lobot, where Lobot, like Lando's trying to cure Lobot of the that affliction he has because of the mechanism on his head and get his personality back. If something happens with Bad Batch and they are reconditioned into being Scar Squadron, I'm sorry, I'm so centered on that part of the story.
I dig it. Let's go.
I wondered, if that could be like her life's mission is to find a way to find them again and bring them all back in some way. That would be, I think that'd be super dope.
And then that'll be the live action Disney Plus show Omega, and it's just like,
or it weaves into whatever the second season of Book of Boba is going to be.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of Boba, I mean, I know we're getting like ahead of ourselves here, but. Is Boba gonna show up? I mean, you'll have Omega. Where's the Alpha? Are we gonna see some?
Oh, that would be awesome.
Are we gonna see them interact at some point? And if we are, is it gonna be in season 2? Is it gonna be like comic books?
I'll take it. I'll take it anyway. They want to give that story. I ingest it all. Gimme.
Because how much older is Are they the same age, Boba and Omega, or is he older than her? Because she's technically older than the Bad Batch, technically.
Yeah.
Let's see. Because Boba was 10 by the time Attack of the Clones happened, so he was born a short time after Phantom Menace, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And then Omega, I would probably say, they're going to Alpha and Omega. Yeah, he was definitely the first. And I think probably maybe halfway, probably like halfway between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, Omega was created.
Okay.
Yeah. So they shouldn't be too far apart in age.
Younger or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they can have a conversation. They can relate.
Yeah. I'd love that. See it.
And she's with her like clone trooper armor, little Omega clone trooper armor.
Yeah, like, she looks awesome.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to see like how it evolves, because I think that's really the cool thing about all these armored characters. It's like how the armor comes together until kind of Mandalorian, right? We see him with the crappy armor like in season 1, and then it slowly becomes
adding
Uber
the
Mando,
pieces.
basically. I'm looking forward to see Uber Omega. But coming back to Solitary Clone, I think the most poignant scene though was that scene when they go back to what's it called, that memorial with all the clone names. That apparently, thanks to Kyle on Twitter, we know that he deciphered it. It's all gibberish. The memorial is all gibberish, which good actually. I prefer that, because then because in the one wall, but whatever. Right. But that scene, I think that was the most important scene, because that's when like Cody drops the hammer and he's just like, or the difference between like clones and droids, we can make choices, but we also have to live with those choices. Bam, drops the mic. I mean, obviously I'm paraphrasing. Drops the mic and walks off, which I thought was a beautiful shot, by the way, because I think one of the things that I'm really, 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 really enjoying about Bad Batch is how beautiful the animation is. It's just like each episode just like looks better than the previous one. I don't know how that's possible, but they keep doing it. And that scene's just like, even though it's very dark, with having the memorial wall like dimly illuminated and just him walking into, center of the screen, it was just chef's kiss, beautifully shot. Nani, what did you think of that scene once it how it played out?
Yeah, no, it was really good because it kind of brought everything that I was hoping was going to happen with Cody, like that hesitation that I saw and trying to resolve the situation at the end of the fight, peacefully, and kind of that regret, and still having Crosshair be completely like, oh, soldiers, it's what we do, we follow orders, and that's it. But then Cody just being like, well, but we're not like droids. We don't just receive an order and it's automatic. We still have to actually choose to obey it. And if we're choosing to obey bad, terrible, horrible orders, then we're complicit with it and we have to live with it. And I think it was very real, but it was said very, just directly, no over flourishing language, and just in a way that is very clear. And I think that's really going to stay with Crosshair. And I think he's going to continuously, as he continues to do missions for the Empire, that's always going to be at the back of his mind. Like, oh yeah, good soldiers follow orders, but should I be following these orders? And I think that's going to be instrumental when eventually we do get the redemption arc.
Chris, what do you think?
I'm doing a rewatch of some arcs within the Clone Wars animated series right now. So everything that goes on in Bad Batch with the clones hits so hard with everything we're seeing, like especially that conversation. As soon as they had that last conversation, he's saying, we follow these orders, but we have to deal with the consequences and the regret of it. I immediately flashed to one of the last times we see Cody with Obi-Wan in that final arc in the Clone Wars animated, where he's dealing with Obi-Wan and whatnot. And then I flashed to what he did in Revenge of the Sith. And man, like I always tell people it hurts. Like I always tell people, like, and they're like, where should I begin with Star Wars? I'm like, begin anywhere.
Oh yeah.
But see, this is one of the benefits of just being able to see everything is moments like that. When if you ingest everything and whatnot, and I'm saying you don't have to, but like if you ingest it like I do, and I'm ridiculous.
It's fine. We're all on the same boat.
It hits. So many moments hit so hard, and it just makes not that it makes it, because the writing is, to me, genius when things like that happen. When they start to connect these lines and just make this universe so well connected, and when you get the references that are being told, it just makes moments like that, like, that just it gives it more than someone who may be watching Bad Batch for the first time, or someone who may not have seen Clone Wars. It'll mean something to them, but they don't know the full breadth of what that statement says. And that's one of the things I took away from this episode, and that's probably the main thing I took away from this episode.
Everything's connected, and I mean, I get tired of saying it because everyone says it, and George said it first, and it's a cliche now, but it's the whole poetry thing. It rhymes, and it's kind of like this circular thing where it's just like we are doomed to repeat some of the stories that we tell, because we don't learn the lessons that George asks us to learn. And God damn it, we're even watching it like in High Republic to an extent. Like there's some of the things coming in there where it's just like, well, the sins of the Jedi are starting to pop up there through the fear of I forgot the name of the creature. I'm sorry, I'm not
the Leveler.
Thank you, the Leveler. Like I just read issue 4 of High Republic. Amazing. It's just like, but like all those things are like how you connect like these thematic threads, right? Of like how things become corrupted, or how evil resurfaces or surfaces for the first time. It's really poignant. It's really interesting to see like how it's manifested in different types of storytelling and the impact, right, that it gives like all these characters. So I'm really excited to see Cody more. Like, I hope this isn't a one and done thing. I really hope that
I think
there's something. There has to be something.
If they showed Rex, if they're bringing Rex in for a particular arc or an episode, it's Cody related, because this has to connect to when Rex was in that Rebels episode where they were taking on the battle droids, and I guess there's an explosion and he's out of it for a second, and he comes to, and the first thing he yells is Cody. So something has to connect with that. So I do think that maybe this is going to be a mission that he asks Bad Batch to help him out with, to get Cody to safety, or to rescue Cody or something like that. But it's gonna. Oh, I see. I'm such a downer because he's
not there. Yeah, he's not there.
It's gonna end bad. It's gonna end bad because he's not there.
He's not there.
Well, maybe he's somewhere else. Maybe maybe he was helping out with the path. So he's
could be
somewhere over there with oh my god, I'm forgetting everyone's names today.
What, Wolf?
No, not Wolf. Jesus Christ. Red Yellow Line Jedi. Jesus Christ. Also in love with Ventress.
Why am I?
What? I'm being a bad fan.
Quinlan Voss.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean,
Quinlan Voss.
Yeah.
Maybe, it happens, girl. Yeah. Maybe he's with Quinlan Voss, helping out with the path somewhere.
Maybe.
So
or
I don't think so. I'm with you, Chris. I think he's not gonna make it.
I hate to be like that. I'm just like,
wait. I mean, that's the direction that the season is going. It's just like, hey, this doesn't really end well.
And
that first clone that we saw in the second episode, I'm not gonna falsify reports, and he got his. So now Cody's not gonna follow some orders. Crosshair covered for him and got him a small reprieve, but maybe this is a foreshadowing thing. If you don't follow orders while you're in the Empire, either you're gonna get yours.
Yeah, and Rampart is he continues to be continually upping his game at being a supreme a-hole. Like
he was kind of. I didn't care for him in season 1. I thought he was not
kind of wimpy and
I didn't think he was very bland. He was very vanilla.
Yeah.
As far as a villain can go.
He was waiting for his time, I think. Exactly. Biden this time.
He wasn't no callous, he didn't have cool hair or cool facial hair, or he wasn't particularly evil. So I didn't, I thought he was pretty boring in season 1, but season 2.
But now he's just he's up in his game.
He's up in his game.
Yeah.
So I don't know if looking forward's the right word, because I don't want him to kill our friends in the Bad Batch, but he's getting up there in the villain spectrum.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Are we gonna see Tarkin or something, or Krennic? Who do we think? Because he's got to interact with some superiors, right?
I would hope so. So I would hope we see some more Tarkin at least.
Yeah.
Krennic, he's busy.
I read somewhere on Twitter. I don't know if this is true, but I read somewhere on Twitter that the facility where the clones are currently in Coruscant was like a Krennic facility.
Oh, really?
I don't know. That's something I read on Twitter. I don't know if it's true, because I'm like, that doesn't sound right. I think Krennic's a little busy with his other project to be doing that. So I haven't Wikipedia'd it, but assuming that it's true, maybe the show is just like, hey, I'm the administrator of this facility, only evil version of that, right? And just shows up to inspect it and runs into a Rampart. But I don't know. I want. It's not that I want a lot of cameos, but I do want some more connective tissue. I don't know if maybe to Andor. I don't know if we see the ISB here, so we see I'm forgetting, Jesus Christ, I'm forgetting everyone's name.
Deidre?
No, not Dedra. Like the head honcho of the ISB.
See.
Yeah.
Yularen, there we go.
Oh, Yularen. Okay. Yeah.
Hey, see Yularen, but kind of make those little connections and then start kind of tying everything a little more organically. Because I've seen people say, "Oh, the Bad Batch helped Baby Yoda come out of the Jedi Temple." And I was like, I don't know. That's a little too much for me. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, that's a little too much. I mean, I like the connections that they're doing. It doesn't have to be like super obvious. Like in season 1, I really love the episode with Cut in it, you know. So this idea about the clones that were going AWOL even before Order 66 and everything happened, you know. And there's been a lot of callbacks to Count Dooku, you know, the first 2 episodes with like his destroyed palace, and then in this episode talking about the fact that he saw the fall of the Republic. Problem was that obviously he ended up helping the fall of the Republic and the creation of the Empire, because he started with good intentions. Obviously, we know now from Tales of the Jedi, which was fantastic, but it's a callback to all these cycles repeating themselves, like you were saying earlier, Goose, that, you know, sometimes he had all these good intentions and saw that this was happening because of the corruption of the Republic, and it all came to pass. The bad thing that, you know, Dooku actually helped that to happen, and that he was on the wrong side of it, but his intentions were at the beginning, and he knew that the corruption was real. And it's true. It's what's happening. I mean, there's no peace at all whatsoever. As soon as he's let go, that she shows mercy, the first thing he says is execute her. So, and like we were discussing about this character, this is the kind of people that swarm towards the Empire. It's crummy, cowardly people that just want some extra power. And that's exactly what it is. So
yeah, I think which kind of reminded me. Sorry, not to cut you off, but like,
oh, it's fine.
Like something popped into. Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Especially with the whole like, oh, execute her, and then she says like it was never about peace. And for me, it's just like this whole dialogue is happening, especially with the new Congress and all the, you know, everything that's happened with the McCarthy elections, you know. But like, and then all the bills that they're starting to vote for, and it's kind of like people are saying like it was never about freedom of speech. It was never about X. It was never about Y.
No.
It's, I mean, we always kind of knew that. But the point of that is to kind of, and I think it's a beautiful thing about animation. And it, I mean, to keep, since we're talking about tying things in Star Wars, now I just want to tie things to the, you know, to the world outside.
Yeah.
It's like Guillermo del Toro was saying, like in the Golden Globes, it's like animation is not for kids. It's just a medium for storytelling. And that's the power of Bad Batch as well. It might be animation, but it doesn't mean that it can't tell us something about the world that we live in. I mean, maybe it's a little more, and I use the word cautiously, right? Maybe it's more sanitized than Andor was, because, you know, Andor was made for an older audience. So it's a little more explicit with its messaging. But yeah, like when I saw that scene,
the message is still there.
It was never about peace. It's like, yeah, they're talking about fascism. They're talking about these things. And it's things that you can see in animation. It's equally powerful, just because it's a different, you know, it's a different brush stroke. Doesn't mean that it's not an art that can evoke a sense and meaning. And I think that's the really powerful thing about these types of shows that, like, you know, that we're watching and discussing. But anyway, that's what I wanted to say. Nani, sorry.
No, it's fine.
As you were saying.
No, it's good. I just think we're only 3 episodes in, and they're already setting up so much to happen. I mean, they can go pretty much any direction right now. And it's going to be worth to watch. I think we're in for a really fun ride with season 2.
Absolutely.
So.
That's a great segue, like, into like the final segment, I think, of like our review series, which is the responsible speculation segment. Obviously, we've already done a little bit about that with killing Cody and Crosshair's eventual redemption, or our hopeful redemption of Crosshair. But what do we expect to see? We're 3 episodes in, like you said, Nani, but what do we expect or hope to see the rest of Bad Batch season 2? Chris, let's start with you, since you've got the big ideas. You've already gave us a couple of hints there, but that's go crazy now.
That's where I'm going. I think that if we revisit Mount Tantus, and I do think we will, with that cloning facility, that, you know, we will get more insight into Palpatine's contingency plans with trying to be. So we may see that. We may see a little bit of, you know, Project Snoke. You know, we might see a little bit of that. Yeah. You know what? And truth be told, like before, I remember I asked Ethan Sachs once, who he writes the Bounty Hunters comic, and I asked him about because like Carl Weathers is one of he's like my favorite actor. So I was like, is there a chance that we can get a Grief Karga story in the Bounty Hunters comic, since he, you know, is head of one of the Bounty Hunters guilds, or you know, works with Bounty Hunters guilds? And he's like, I can't touch any of that, because that's, you know, Favreau and Filoni, they're doing their thing, so we can't touch any of that until they give a good say so. With Filoni being, you know, the head of, I guess, Rebels and whatnot, and executive producer, the Grogu thing, I'm thinking maybe they could do something with it. Maybe it doesn't have to be Bad Batch, or maybe Bad Batch helps whoever got Grogu out of the temple. Maybe helps them out or something. Who knows? That would be something I'd be so down for that.
But would you want to see because I think everyone wants to know like how Grogu escaped.
How he got out. Yeah.
But do we want to see that in Bad Batch, or do you think that's something that's left for somewhere else? Like, is it a flashback or something in Mando? What do you think?
I don't care how they show it to me.
Yeah.
As long as I see it. As long as I'm
inject
able to just give me. Yeah.
And we're getting all the good stuff, so that's good. Nani, what about you?
Yeah, I've always
responsibly.
Ever since season 1, I have been a fan of us meeting Boba in this series. So I am looking forward to that possibility, especially the difference in how they have grown up, you know, and she's like with a loving family and he grew up with bounty hunters basically and not trusting anybody, and how that changes them, even though they're the same genetic material, and how maybe an interaction between them would change both of them. So that's something that I had looked forward to maybe happening ever since season 1. So I would be super down with that. But otherwise, I'm not sure. We have a lot of episodes to go, and
it'd be interesting to follow that to keep pulling on that thread now.
Yeah,
because we know from Celebration Orlando, I think when they showed when they showed like that cinematic of Clone Wars of the Cat Bane and Boba Fett showdown where he gets the dent on the helmet, which we kind of got a version of that with Hunter and Cat Bane, but I think I think we still need to see that scene with Boba Fett and Cat Bane just to kind of tie it a little, have that narrative thread a little more stronger with Book of Boba Fett, and I think Bad Batch could be a good opportunity to like have that play out, because one, we've already seen Cat Bane, so he can come back obviously, and then two, it makes sense for Boba to like have some interaction with Omega, and they can retool it, right? Maybe Boba's having that confrontation with Cat Bane because of Omega, as he's protecting his sister. Cat Bane's trying to do whatever the hell he's doing for Imperials in Mount Tantus, and then everyone gets their cake, and we get to eat it too. But but that's responsible. If it doesn't happen,
we're wrong all the time, but it's fine.
I'll survive if it doesn't happen. Yeah. Because they probably have better ideas.
Oh yeah, we're getting good stuff regardless. I'm sure we are. I think this is going to be a really fun season. So
absolutely.
Yeah, we got it's 16 episodes, so we still have most of the season. So we just got this party going. But with that, I think this is a good spot to wrap things over. But before we head out, Chris, why don't you tell us everything that you've got going on what's going on at Broaxium these days?
Sure. Let's see. Well, we have a new series of shorts that we're doing called Unrefined Broaxium. This is where we have 55 seconds to talk about anything. We can review a show, anything that's going on within Star Wars, that you may have that people want to rant about or whatever. Just anything anyone in the crew wants to talk about. You have 55 seconds to talk about it. And we have a little timer going on where you'll see
a lot of pressure.
A vial of you'll see this vial of Broaxium at the top, and it'll start to go red. It'll start because it's unrefined. So you have that much time before it blows up.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Someone crossed the line today. I put one out, and someone. Oh, Claire. Rest in peace, Claire. She crossed the line, and the thing blew up. So we have that going on.
So that means we have to reschedule because she's also coming on the show.
Well, she's
so we
okay.
Have to find someone.
No, actually, no, she'll be all right. She's in the back of the tank right now. She's good.
Okay,
she'll be all right. Good. Let's see. We've got a quick shots of Broaxium, which is our comic book preview show. We have that Sundays live 9:00. We have Shooting the Poodoo going on. Every other week, the Star Bros podcast puts out something. I forgot. I don't know what they're talking about this week, but it's always good. They're an amazing crew, Ben and Jan. Tuesdays is BX Gaming with Dan and Mike Roker. Right now they're going through God of War, Ragnarok. I think it's called the latest one. And they're going through that, and it looks amazing.
It's amazing.
That's one of the games that I got a PlayStation 5 for, and I got a PlayStation 5, and I have not played any single game on it. So I need to. You need to. I feel bad.
Money's worth out of that thing.
Right now it's just gathering dust, but
yeah.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
And then you can catch me on Fridays on the streaming Star Wars network with Pete Fletzer and Nick Milkey. We do Force Connect. So that, there's that as well.
It's a lot of
Very
stuff.
cool.
And we will
so busy.
leave links
Oh
to
no, and
one more
thing. I'm sorry.
One more thing.
One more thing. I'm exhausted.
Steve Jobs over here presenting an iPhone.
Also, like, I have two more monthly shows we have going on. It's Nice Guys podcast with me and my buddy Mick, and we talk about a bunch of older, like, 80s and 90s movies that we enjoy when we worked in a video store together back in the early 2000s. And then we have a comic book show called Spoiler Run that's going to come out at the end of the month, where it's going to be me, Rick Villanueva from Jam Transmissions, and Dan will be there as well. And we're going to talk about our favorite comics from that month. So
awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
We will attempt to leave as many
of
those
links
as possible down in the description so you can follow them. Because Chris is a great guy. Broaxium is an awesome crew. So please make sure to check them out. Because it's all, we gotta support all the good peeps in the community. So everyone's making excellent content out there. Some aren't, but we don't talk about them.
Yeah, we don't talk about them. They're true. But anyway, I think we're done for today. Chris, thank you so much for coming on the show again. We love having conversations with you. I think Bad Batch is going to be great. Then we have Mando season 3 coming. It's going to be a good year. We are Triad of the Force. We are going to go back to regular episodes at some point. We'll keep you posted. But for now, we are going to continue to talk about Bad Batch every episode as its release. It's going to be great. Like, subscribe, leave us a comment. Let us know what you're thinking. And until next time, may the Force be with you.